I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you. Let's start off with citizen concerns, round one. Any citizens to be heard for anything that's not on the agenda? All right, seeing nothing, I'll move the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to the consent agenda. Items 3 through 8 constitute a consent agenda, routine action items, to be considered by one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 3 is approval of the minutes of the June 28th, 2022 meeting.
I have something on the minutes.
Sure thing.
I just changed the wording on item 14. It said motion by Radig, second by Taylor to deny the sheriff's request for supplemental pay. The only thing that's changed is deny the sheriff's claim for supplemental pay.
Thank you. Item 4 is approval of claims. Item 5 from County Treasurer, approval of refunds due to overpayment of advance payments. Item 6 from Human Resources, approval of memorandum of personnel transactions. Item 7 from me and the Board of Supervisors, approval of letter of commitment to Siouxland Mental Health Center. Item 8 from the auditor, approval of liquor license for Scarecrow Farm in Lawton, Iowa. That ends the consent agenda. Anything to be heard or questioned on that?
I'll move the consent agenda.
I'll second. Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, passes 5-0. Moving on to 9, Community and Economic Development. A is receive Zoning Commission's recommendation from their 6/27/22 meeting to approve the final plat of Williams Third Strike, First Edition, a minor subdivision.
Good afternoon, Supervisors. Dan Priestley, Zoning Coordinator. Lee Mark Williams filed this one-lot minor subdivision on the property identified as parcel number 894602300004. This is in the Concord Township, Section 2. It's been noticed to the stakeholders and neighbors, and we haven't received any comments that were against it. It was pretty much straightforward. The Zoning Commission did recommend a well easement agreement for the abutting lot, and they've prepared that easement. It's included in the packet and would be recorded along with the subdivision plat. With that said, the Zoning Commission recommends, as well as staff, for approval of the subdivision plat.
And were they good with the well easement on the other side then, too?
Everything looks in order with the documentation provided, so, yeah.
I'll move to receive.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. And item B is approval of the Williams Third Strike First Edition minor subdivision final plat with the Zoning Commission's recommendation and authorize the chairman to sign the resolution.
I'll move that.
I'll second. Motion by DeWitt, second by Radig. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, that passes 5-0. You get it?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right, we're just about to the 4:35 here. So item 10, A is the public hearing and sale of property parcel known as 1118 22nd Street. And we're now in a public hearing. Is anybody to be heard for or against the sale on this property? Just, it's not time to make bids, just if you're speaking for or against the sale yet.
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Motion by Taylor, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Now we can take some bids. Come on up, state your name and your address and your bid amount.
My name is Guillermo Charchalak. My address is 1120 22nd Street, Sioux City.
What was the last name again?
Charchalak.
Okay. All right. And then what was your bid?
Is the list 325?
335?
325?
The 325 or 335? Anyone have
Got
that paper?
334 on here.
34, yeah.
I'm looking.
You
Okay.
want to do the minimum bid of
Yeah,
334?
the minimum, yeah.
All right, do we have anyone else to bid on this property? This is the 22nd Street. Yeah, come on up, state your name.
I can see it or stay here.
If you can just stay right to the side here and go ahead.
Kim Leverton. Leaverton.
And then what was your address and your bid there?
My address,
Yeah,
1321 26th Street,
all right, go ahead with your bid.
400.
Okay. Did you want to make another bid?
430?
Okay.
430?
430? Okay,
5.
500?
530?
600.
Okay,
700?
okay,
I'm going to go 1,000.
okay,
1,200?
okay,
15.
all right,
16?
okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you both. Anybody else that was holding out to see where we at?
Move that the property in question be sold to Mr. Charchalak for $1,600.
I'll second. Motion by Taylor, second by Radig. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and go ahead and you'll meet with Heather in the back there here in just a minute. We got one more to do. And we are at the 4:37 set time, public hearing and sale of property parcel. This is item 10B, known as 1904 Riverside Boulevard. We are now in a public hearing. Anybody heard for or against the sale? All right, seeing none, move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. We'll now take bids. Come on up, state your name and address and bid.
My name is Manuel Ramirez. His name's Solalio Ramirez. The address is 1908 Riverside Boulevard, Sioux City, Iowa 51109. And we start off with 647.
Anybody else on the, because that gentleman over there was talking about it.
Terry Murtaugh. $1,000.
1100.
Do we have another gentleman here?
Okay, we're at 2,000 now. Go ahead.
JSW Real Estate, John Weber.
And your bid?
2,200.
2300.
3,000.
3100.
4,000.
41.
5,000.
5100.
6,000.
You said 6, right? 6100.
7,000.
Okay. Anybody else holding out? Want to bid more than 7,000? All right. I'll move that we sell the property to Terry Murtaugh for $7,000.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. And then Heather in the back there.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the 4:40 set time with Building Services. A is a public hearing on Prairie Hills Old County Home Demolition Project. Now in a public hearing, anything to be heard? You want to take any fun of it since Kenny's not here?
Ryan Kitka, I'm filling in for Kenny. I don't have anything.
All right.
Public hearing.
Hearing none, Mr. Chair, I move that the public hearing be closed.
Second?
Motion by Taylor, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. And item B is approval to receive and open Prairie Hills County Home Demolition Project bid submissions on July 26, 2022 at 3 p.m. at the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors Administration Office.
I'll move that.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nay. Well, passes 4-1. Raddick saying no. Item C, authorize the county auditor's office to open bid submissions for the Prairie Hills County Home Demolition Project.
Is that normal?
Well, the auditor receives bids, correct? I mean,
Right.
by Iowa code,
We have done that.
yeah.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Taylor. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. And passes 4-1. Raddick saying no. Item D, approval to officially receive bids on July 26, 2022 at 4:45 p.m. Woodbury County Courthouse Board of Supervisors meeting and award the bid to lowest responsive responsible bidder at that time.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
We have a motion by DeWitt, second by Taylor. Any discussion? Now, I do have a question on this. Essentially, we're pre-approving, what if the bid is way higher than expected?
I think what they're asking for is just the permission to do that on that date.
Okay, it's just the receiving of them, not necessarily awarding.
Right.
It says and award bid.
And award, but that's has occurred. You can reword it if you want, but it's just asking permission that if he wants to award it that time, he could do that, or he could recommend against it at that point.
And I believe the bid specifications say that all bids can be rejected. So you're not binding yourselves to award a bid. There's still the authority to deny or change the project in some way and go back out.
So just following the last three things that we've done, they're going to receive these in the administration's office, the Board of Supervisors Administration Office. It's the auditor's office that'll open them, and then we'll officially receive them desire.
No, it says and award.
I think
if
Josh
it's
was saying we
lowest
can reject it if we,
I
because
don't
it's
know
the
how you-
lowest, most responsive, and if you don't have a low responsive bidder, we're not bound to have to do that, is my understanding. Is that, it comes in double what we want, and we don't feel like that's,
Yeah.
we can throw it out.
This item probably could have been worded a little bit more precisely, but basically under the code, when the bids aren't opened at the meeting, you have to designate someone to a place to receive them and someone to open them, and then they have to report back to the board at a specified time. And that's, I think, the goal of this, is that the board would receive them that time. And then, as long as it's an action item on the agenda for that meeting, then the board could act on the bids. And acting on the bids could include approving them or denying them.
Well, it's not a bond issue for one thing, so we don't have to take the lowest bid. It's just a capital improvement, right?
In this project, we're proceeding as if the public bidding laws apply, which would require the lowest bid.
If we accept it at all.
Right.
So this is basically on 26th is our meeting date. So basically, we're going to get the award amount from Kenny at that time or whatever, and then we can approve or deny or whatever.
Correct. Kenny will come back with a list of the bids, and then you'll be set to act on them in some manner. And I don't believe that this item obligates the board to act in any particular way on that day.
Because we're voting on whether we accept it.
You're
We
voting-
accept the, vote to accept the bids, receive the bids, I'm sorry. But we still have the ability to reject them by
Right.
vote because the cost may be too high.
Right. This item is just setting that date as the date that the bids will come before the board. And it is a little different than our typical process of actually opening the boards in the meeting, or opening the bids in the meeting, but again, it's permitted by code, and this is the process that's set out in code to allow that to happen.
We have done that before.
All right, so we had a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Nay. Passes 4-1. Raddick opposed. Item 12, secondary roads. Thank you for filling in. I was going to try to grill you more, make it. Secondary roads, Margnara. A is approval of setting hearing dates for permanent closure and vacation of county roads and excess right-of-way.
Good afternoon, Mark Nara, Woodbury County Engineer. We have two requests for vacating undeveloped streets. These are the last two streets in the Morningside subdivision. That's the one that lies south of Menards in that area. Bounded by 75 and Morningside Drive. The other one is vacating some excess right-of-way. We had a road that was relocated in the 1940s, and we kept a really wide swath of right-of-way. It was shown on the background that you folks had. What we've done is worked with the property owner who was requesting that we vacate some of that property. We looked at making sure we kept all the utility easements within the county right-of-way, and we made sure that we had adequate clear zone. So we'd like to publish these, put these out for vacation consideration. I recommend July 26th at 4:40 p.m. if that works for the board.
I'll move that recommendation.
Second.
It was July 26th at 4:40 p.m. Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that passes 5-0. That'll be right before we get those bids then. All right, item B, approval of detour agreement with Iowa DOT for the Iowa Highway 141 Railroad Crossing Improvement Project.
Iowa DOT is going to be closing 141 between City of Sloan and Old 75 and the interchange with I-29. They'd like to direct traffic north on 75 through the town of Salix and then back south to get around for that period. The project's expected to take a week. I recommend approval.
That'd be a tough one if you forgot that they were going to have that closed and you had to head all the way back north.
Yeah. We anticipate some people might go south if that's the way they're actually headed.
Sure.
That option is there, but as far as placing the signage on 141,
That's the
I
direction
think
it's going
that's
to go.
their more likely travel path. So that's what DOT requested anyway.
I'll move the approval.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Item 13, Board of Supervisors, Jeremy Taylor, A, approval of 2080 agreement with Rolling Hills Community Services Region.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So this is an update to the 2080 agreement that governs Rolling Hills members counties, specifying the original counties, those that have been added, including ourselves as of July 1st, 2019, and codifying Humboldt and Pocahontas County. I won't bore you with every detail and provision. I'm sure that you have either read through it or trusted that we have. So this comes before you for ratification. I just maybe highlight one thing on page 2. One of the things that was taken up is the distribution of assets in the event that, God forbid, the region be dissolved. All property of the region shall be delivered, assigned, and conveyed to the member counties by population to each member county. I think something like that is in our favor because, as you may know, we hold nearly the same population in our county as the rest of the other member counties. So if it was all divided up 10 different ways, kind of pro rata, that would be disadvantageous to us. And again, hopefully that never happens. But a lot of this is similar language to what you saw before, and every county is being asked to sign this. So those
I'll move
are
it.
opening remarks. I'll second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Taylor. Any further questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to B, authorize chairman to sign MOU between Rolling Hills and Woodbury County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So this is to authorize chairman to sign the memorandum of understanding. This really relates to, and it's a discussion that we've had for the better part of a year, to whom our employees, ultimately employees of, if that's the right way to say it. And this will specify that for purposes of different procedures, policies, and so on, that it is the county in which the person permanently resides when beginning the employment. We've gone back and forth whether we should have purely regional employees, whether it should be the majority of the time that the person works in. I don't know that there's any perfect solution, but this is what the sausage making came up with. So if this person moves, it doesn't move the employment because we don't want to have a person move 3 times and now they have 3 different, So this is simply that. The other thing that I'd say is we talked about in our situation, sometimes we have people who live in Dakota Dunes or South Sioux, that it would be the nearest county to which the person resides. So the rest of this MOU is fairly straightforward. So those are my opening remarks, if anyone has questions. If not, I'd move it.
Second, motion by Taylor, second by Raddick. Any other discussion on this? I guess they're either really efficient remarks or we just didn't want to ask you anything else. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Must have been good.
So this is coming your way, whoever hasn't signed it.
Reports on committee meetings. Go ahead.
Just had a selection approval committee for the city assessor, and the 3 of us met. We had about a 30-second meeting, and the whole purpose was to appoint Dan Moore as chair. And so that authorizes him to get a list from the Department of Revenue as to qualified assessors. Then we'll meet back, and we'll be putting names before the conference board for ultimate approval for the next city assessor. That's all I have.
Last Friday had a basically introduction welcome thing for Scott Mitchell, our new EMS director. Went very, very well. Almost all of the entire crew was there. EMTs, paramedics, all of them. Outgoing interim director. I think we're going to have a relatively smooth transition. Like I said, a little bit of the follow-up after I walked out was the crew down there was very happy. They felt that it was the best meeting they ever had. I didn't hear them say that, but it was relayed to me after the meeting because they, on the one hand, they're almost a remote operation, but it's nice to have somebody down there that listens to them, and they did air some, I won't call them grievances, but some concerns, and again, I think it went very well, and welcome Scott Mitchell to county employment, and I think he's gonna do us well.
And we did fill another position out there, did we now? Was it the part-time? Okay, so that should help a little bit. We still need a full-timer, right? So, all right. Any other committees that we missed? I didn't have any. Citizen concern round 2. Not too many citizens left. Dan, did you want to say anything on the record about the RAGBRAI tents?
Dan Priestley, zoning coordinator. We've been looking at that kind of very carefully, and as far as zoning, the key word is the commercial sales of beverage and food would not fit with the zoning district. However, that does not apply to, for example, free will donation from a private property owner to sell something by offering it free, basically. And that's kind of the message that I put out in my correspondence with several that have put an inquiry together. And I'm also working with some other departments presently with Siouxland District Health as well as the Sheriff's Department to do some basic coordination as we move ahead. And there'll be more information to the public in the next few days or so.
I think all of us have gotten emails from those concerned writers, and I've really struggled instead of answering like I want to just say it right now. I don't think we should be held hostage to the RAGBRAI group not starting sooner, because they knew this route planned well before we did, but we seem to be taking the heat for it.
Yeah, when it comes down to zoning ordinances and legislation, you all know the processes very well, where it takes several weeks of public hearings if there's to be a major change. And if the intensity of the public comes and sees a need to make a change, a lot of times that'll contribute heavily to the public policy process. But as a whole, in terms of at least being able to find that route forward where a group or an organization that would be allowed by property owners to use the property in a way based on the free will donation, that would be at least a route of compromise.
We could probably do a save the courthouse, tuck pointing bottled water sale.
I'll leave that up to you to man, but I just have one question. So we talked a little bit about the spectrum, and so a landowner who wanted to, under kind of a home use, sell his corn or do whatever he or she would like to do would be fairly allowable under those rules, as well as a nonprofit that would want to come in and, for example, do brats and burgers or something like that, because that was a particular question. A church group, the Lutheran services, those sort of things on a spectrum are allowable. It's the commercial kind of trigger in line. Is that a fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what triggers the zoning ordinance based on the land use summary table would be the commercial basic level there. Otherwise, a private property owner, their own land, the ability to offer something for that free will aspect. And I've looked across the board. We have many stakeholders, whether it would be the alcohol, the state level group, the beverage group, as well as Siouxland District Health, who I'm still talking with, as well as the food. They have different regulations, whether it be like a food truck is out there. They don't really consider the zoning. They just make sure that they meet the requirements from the health standards there, and then they put it on the applicant to check with zoning to see if they're approaching an appropriate location. So we're kind of trying to tie things together across these different groups so that we're on the same page right now. And we were kind of thrown a little bit for a loop with House File, I think it was 2431, which was just effective July 1st, which has a role on food in particular, directly from Siouxland District Health on what property owners could offer to the public based what's produced on the property. So I've been in touch with Ivy Bremer over at Siouxland District Health today, and we're kind of going through that House File to see if there's any effect as far as zoning. But going back to our basic home occupation rules. Section 4.14 of the ordinance does have home occupation regulations where folks can facilitate a commercial type of business on their property as long as they stay within scope of what the ordinance is. Where kind of the natural test is you drive by a property and you don't see the residential effects changed by some type of business activity, whether it's occurring inside of a accessory structure or within the house. So what I'm trying to do is look at how this recent House filing, if that's tied directly into what the county can do from the home occupation aspect, or if it has any effect there. So those are the few things. Again, we are a little bit short on time. Like it was mentioned, if we did have some more time ahead of time to look at it, maybe there'd be other directions. But I think kind of the bottom line is it's basically down to a free will donation at this point if people were to proceed with some providing of items to right-by-righters.
Thanks, Dan. And I guess within the next 2 weeks, Mark, is there anything else that county roads-wise would need to have done? Or, I mean, you basically had said at their rural meeting in Anthony, what's done is going to be done.
I think we're ready for the ride on our road system. You want me to record?
Yeah, just so it's on the record.
You said ride, not riot, right? Yes, I did. I said ride.
We've been working with Sheriff's Department on advanced warning signs wherever they're going to be directing traffic at intersections. So I haven't been out on 220th again, but we did do some patching and crack leveling out there. We're just going to make sure everything's all right with that. Maybe do some trimming of a couple high spots if we have to. But right now, I think our road system's as ready as it's going to be. We do plan to go out and broom all the roads ahead of time, get rid of any gravel or anything that's drug out there from the intersections, and just make sure it's straightened up before they come through that Sunday.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chair, do we need any comments from the Sheriff's Office representative this evening?
Oh, you did a fine job.
I thank you guys all for your work. Yeah, thank you for working together on that. We appreciate it. Board concerns, anything else? So we got the landfill meeting was brought up beforehand. That's.
And I have one.
Go ahead.
The outgoing EMS director mentioned it, and the last interim EMS director mentioned that the current vehicle, I think it's a Suburban, is getting pretty tired. One estimate is up to $5,000 for front-end repairs. And it's got 130+ thousand miles on it. Perhaps it's time to trade it. I have chatted briefly with Mr. Butler this morning on do we have the money for that, or where could we get the money for that? So, Dennis?
And out of curiosity, is that something where we could buy maybe an ambulance there and move one of those trucks into the EMS director's vehicle? Would that be something that would make sense?
Well, that's one thing that they were talking about, is they would rather have a truck, which is cheaper than a Suburban, but no mention was made of the ambulance thing, no.
Well, that was brought up by somebody out there in the past, that maybe they get an ambulance out there in the future, so instead of showing up in the truck, getting a town's ambulance, then driving their ambulance, then having to take the ambulance all the way back, get their truck, and then take the truck back there, maybe it would make more sense for us to just have an ambulance out there in the future. But go ahead, Dennis. I didn't mean to cut you off.
They buy a truck, it'd probably be a 3/4 ton, like Rocky said, it'd be cheaper than a Suburban by far. Normally, we take it out CIP, but this cost would probably be a lot less, and it'd probably be advisable to take it out of gaming revenue as we have funds available there and just pay for it.
Well, if we were to do an ambulance, ambulance is ARPA eligible, is it not?
Well, you're suggesting the director drive an ambulance?
No, I'm suggesting him drive one of the trucks and have an ambulance replace one of the two trucks.
You better discuss that with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
See, you know, what it goes, but we do have money available.
Point of interest, Lawton, the community of Lawton bought a new ambulance and has less than 300 miles on it, and it's unusable. It's at least not reliable.
A new one?
Yep.
We got a warranty, don't they?
They're
300 miles, yeah. All right, so we got the
quite upset about that.
landfill meeting on the 13th. You're both there, good for it? Good? Yep, okay. Anybody else, I guess, have any board concerns that were not brought up? There is the 99 County Bible reading that's Saturday morning in front of the courthouse. They're doing that in all 99 counties in Iowa. They wanted to convey that all supervisors or anybody elected is invited to go, or anybody within the county. And with that, we are adjourned.